All right, all right, all right. You guys in the house today, let me know that you can see me and hear me in the chat. I see a bunch of people here. Pumped to hang out with you. I'm seeing people from all over the globe, which is always a pleasure. I just love this global audience. So many amazing people. I saw South Africa, I saw Prague, I saw Australia, which is in the middle of the night. So I can't believe you're here. UK, we've got Mexico, we've got Spain, a bunch of places in the US, of course. So good to see you. Okay, cool. People can hear me. What's up, Emily from Belgium? Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped to hang out with you guys today. Are you ready? Are you ready for a 5-day hangout? Are you ready to go live 5 days in a row? I am super, super pumped. This is going to be amazing. So let me know in the chat if you are excited and if you are ready to dive in, okay? I've got a lot planned for you this week. I've been looking forward to this for a few months, and I can't believe it is actually here. So I'm really, really, really pumped. So let me get this on the screen as well. Freeman Music says yes. Speak Fluent German says ready. Wyatt says ready. Naomi says ready and excited. Somebody said, Jason Blackman says, this is the magic week. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, cool. Well, full disclosure, I got sick over the weekend. I got the flu, corona, who knows? It felt like the flu, but you never know. And I was out for like a day and felt a lot better yesterday, but now it's just turned into like a head cold. So if I sound sick, I feel fine, but I got a bunch of stuff in my throat, but I got my beautiful throat coat tea here with some honey. I've got water, and I'm actually feeling good today. So I'm super grateful that I healed up for this because we got a lot to cover this week. So pray for me to feel good. And I've got so much to bring you. I want to have so much energy for you. And we are going to have a ton of fun. So if you're ready to go, I'm going to dive in. We're going to go over some of the housekeeping of what to expect today and throughout the week. And then we'll dive in. Okay, so I want to honor your time. So let me get this going here. All right. I'm ready to go. More people joining. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right, let's kick this off. So let's start off by saying, hey, first of all, if you don't know where you are at the 5-day, 6-figure challenge. So you're in the right place if you want to grow your business this year. I'm Graham. I'm going to introduce myself to you because some of you are new. Some of you are longtime super fans. So I'm going to try to reach both of you, both groups of you today. But I just want you to know what my goal is for you during this entire challenge. Okay, so my goal is that by the end of this challenge, you're going to know how to reach $100,000 a year or more in your business. But specifically, there's 3 counterintuitive truths that I'm going to be teaching you throughout the week. And these are going to allow you to scale your business without having to hustle. I'm not a fan of that. Without having to work longer days. That's not the point, because you can make more money by just working more. It is possible, but that's not really the goal, because the goal isn't to just work more. It's to make more and have more time to enjoy it. These truths will help you scale your income without having to get a bunch of new customers, without having to run paid ads or do a bunch of social media. So you're going to learn those truths this week. Plus, you're going to have action steps, which I think is super important to help you scale your business in 2022. Okay, does that sound good? Let me know in the chat. Love it. All right. Who is this challenge for? This challenge is for you if you already have an online business started. Full disclosure, if you have not launched your online business yet, this may be either too advanced or less helpful to you, because the most important thing, if you haven't started, is to launch. So just build your audience, launch your first product, get clear on your niche, and start building, an email list. That's the most important thing you can do. I've got a ton of free resources on that. So really, this whole week is for you if you've already launched. That's who I have in mind. So keep that in mind. It's for you if you aren't reaching your income goals. If you're already reaching your income goals, you can hang out with me all week, but you probably don't need this training, right? So then we can just celebrate you. Okay. A couple people are saying in the chat that they can't hear, but other people are saying they can hear. So if you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me in the chat box. I'm going to make sure everything's working. I think everything should be working. I got my man Marcus on this as well. He would let me know if it's not working. But this is for you if you haven't reached your income goals. Specifically, this is for you if you want to reach $100,000 US or more in your annual income in the next 12 months. We're going to dive into that number more specifically as we go on. And then if that's not something you're interested in, but you feel like you've plateaued in your business, and I have been there, where you feel like, look, I was growing, now I'm not, and it's been a while, not just a flat month or two, or maybe even a flat quarter, but it's maybe been 6 months to a year, and I feel like I've plateaued, and you need help getting past that plateau, and you'd like to double your income. So even if 6 figures isn't the goal, but you're like, hey, I did this amount last year, I'd like to 2x that this year, then this whole challenge is going to be for you. Okay. Let me know in the chat below if any of this applies to you. Like, yes, this challenge is for me. I want to make sure you are in the right place. Thank you so much for being here. Again, so many more of you joining. I love it. We're going to dive in. I want to make sure this is the right place for you. And here is how this challenge is going to work. So just a little bit of housekeeping of what to expect. Every day, there's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes of teaching. Okay. So obviously the first part, when we go live, there's going to be about 20, 30 minutes of me teaching you hard teaching, something different every day. I'm going to go over what those are in a minute. So come ready to learn, come ready to take notes. Every day there's going to be a homework assignment. So I want to teach you, but then I want to give you a specific homework assignment to then apply what I taught you that day, because the entire point of this challenge is to take massive action, not just come and learn and come have fun, although we're going to do both of those, but you won't make money or see change in your life if you don't take action. So there's going to be 20 to 30 minutes of teaching every day, homework assignment for me every day that you can begin applying what you're learning. There's going to be live Q&A from me every single day for about another 30 minutes. So again, what I love about this format is that I can teach you, I can give you the homework, and then I can see where you're at, and I can answer your questions live, and I can coach you live 5 days in a row. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to ask questions, and hopefully either I can answer your specific question or someone else will ask a similar question, and you can be served by my answer to them as well. So live Q&A each day at the back half of it. Again, we'll probably go 60 to 90 minutes. I got a lot of emails over the weekend. Hey, how long are these challenge days going to be? Um, Plan for 60 to 90 minutes, more hopefully closer to 60. But if there's a million great questions, I might go a little bit long on the Q&A side of things. But 60 to 90 minutes each day, with that being the format. And then there's accountability built in, because not only do we have the chat here, but below this video, inside of this challenge page, is a place for comments. So you're going to see, as we get to the homework assignment, I'm going to give you a challenge to leave a specific comment, to answer a specific question. And that's ongoing. So even in between the challenges, you can answer people's questions. People can answer your questions. You can encourage each other. I don't want you to do this alone. So that's why there is a live element and a comment section below. I want you to be able to have accountability. There's something powerful about posting what your goals are, or what you're doing, and having other people see it, right? Okay, so that's how this challenge is going to work. Each day it's going to be this format, okay? Here is where we are going for the week. 5 days. Today is called Six-Figure Freedom. Day 2 is going to be all about the surprising math of earning six figures. We're going to do a few case studies on different ways to earn six figures that some of my friends and students are earning. So real examples to give you different ways to think about how to close the gap from where you are to six figures or to your goal. Day 3, I'm going to teach you the 64-4 rule, which is so freaking powerful when it comes to scaling. And a lot of people miss this because they think in wide sweeping generalizations about their audience, but real smart business owners who have scaled all understand the 64-4 rule. So I'm going to share that with you. Day 4 is going to be the six-figure blueprint. This is really going to help you figure out where you are and what you need to do next to reach six figures or beyond. And then day 5, we're going to end with a powerful case study of one of my students who went from 1K a month to full-time and now is doing six figures, and break down the way he's done it. Very practical, very tactical. And it's a good inside look at different ways someone who was starting online, trying to do all the things and making just over $1,000 a month, who's now, he's gone full-time. He's employed his wife. He's really living the lifestyle he really wanted. He's put in the work, but it's been fun to see his journey. I'm going to break down that math for you as well. So my hope is that you will come all 5 days. I totally understand if you will have to miss one or more of the days. If you're here, it's because you registered. And if you register, then we have your email address and we will be emailing you the replay each day. So have no fear if you miss one of the days or multiple days or part of a day. I'm going to email you the replay after each day so you can catch up and catch all of the content. The replay won't be up forever, but for the week or so that this is going live, you will have access to the replay because you registered. Okay. And Jason Blackman says, I'll be here all week. I love it. I want you to come every single day because A, you're going to get a lot of value, B, the live Q&A, and C, I just know that if you are here and present and focused this week, I think you have a better chance of actually implementing this stuff and seeing growth this year. Couple of important reminders. I always say this anytime I do a live training of this sort, this isn't magic. If you don't put in the work, it won't work. I'm going to give you some of my best stuff, but we all know if you just consume information and don't apply anything, I can't do anything for you. I wish I could. I wish I could guarantee your results and snap my fingers and it'd be done, but it just doesn't work that way. Best I can do is show you the path, but you have to put in the work. I believe that you will. You're here. You're an action taker. So I'm pumped for you to do that. As always, some people are going to make money sooner than others. Some are going to make more than others. Doesn't really matter. The point is the strategy is the same and it's really going to work. So it's going to help you grow from wherever you are to wherever you want to be. And if you're like me, I highly suggest you just switch off your phone or put it in airplane mode. I just want you to be focused for the next 60 minutes. And each time you come, because we got a lot to cover. And I really want you to not only be learning, but be thinking how you can apply this to yourself every single day, starting with today. Okay. And then just a little bit for you. If you don't know who I am, I want to give you some reason to pay attention to what I'm going to teach you. And if you already know all this stuff, forgive me, this will be my love me slide. But I want to just give you some point to some credibility so you know that this is going to be worth your time. My name is Graham Cochran. I got started in online business in 2009 with my first business, Recording Revolution. That business does over 600,000 monthly viewers, which is insane. Over 56 million YouTube views, which has been really fun to see that grow. I've been featured in Huffington Post, Yahoo, Business Insider, Growth Lab, and a bunch of other places. And really, which I think is going to be more helpful to you, is I've taken that business and this business, the Graham Cochran brand, and scaled them to over $1 million a year in revenue. So I've been able to start 2 online businesses in 2 different niches and scale them to not only 6 figures, not only multiple 6 figures, but now 7 figures, and I've done it twice. What's helpful about this is I've learned and tried a lot of different things, and also been able to become friends with a lot of people who have done similar incredible things. And I've learned a lot. So what I'm teaching you this week works because it's been stress tested in real life by yours truly in 2 different niches, one to hobbyists and one to business owners. And I did it the first time without knowing anything. So that it took me a lot longer to scale that business. The second one a lot faster because I knew a lot more this time. And my goal is for you is to do it a lot faster. Sound good? You guys ready to dive in? I see some awesome people. I love it. People said they're going to be here. Zan the man said he would have paid money for the replay. I know some people charge for their replays. I don't want to do that. I want this to be absolutely free for you to attend. I know time zones are very tricky. It is very hard to pick a time that works for people all around the globe. And then obviously people's schedules are hard. So you committed to registering for this. So I want to commit to you by letting you watch this material, even if you can't catch it live. Okay. So let me get my mug off the screen here. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. My fault. I took myself out of the stream. So here we go. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me now. That was my fault. Pulled my my audio stream out. All right, we're back. We're back. Okay. Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. So all I was saying is if you're here, I'm ready to dive in. This is going to be fun. And if you're watching the replay, I still love you. You're going to still be able to apply all this stuff. We've got hundreds of people in the live chat, which I'm excited about. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for committing to me. So let's dive in. So I wanted to start by talking about my own 6-figure journey to make this real for you. Robin says, I still have no sound. Other people say they can hear. Let me know that you can hear me. Yeah, get your sacks together says you got it. Yep. You might be a little, some people might be delayed, so that might be the moment that I went mute for a second. I think I'm still good, but I'm going to make sure we're all good here. I'm clicking the wrong stuff. Okay. Life Lesson says I got you. Sounds good. Okay. Cool. We're working. We're cooking with gas. All right. So I want to start with my 6-figure journey just to show you that I'm a real person that had no clue what I was doing. And I said this, I think, when I was muted, just so you know, if you have specific questions, save them to the end. We are going to do live Q&A at the end. I'm going to be focusing primarily on teaching you for the next few minutes, and then we'll dive into the Q&A. Okay. Here's how my journey started. The first thing was that I tried to become a rock star. And some of you know my story. That was my only goal in life, was to become a rock star. And I am a musician by trade. My dreams were to be famous, to make music, and I thought I would make plenty of money. Also, I thought I'd be rich and famous. Don't we all? So that was my goal. And I was doing music my whole life. Into college, I had a band as well, and I was doing regional touring. And then when that band broke up, I just went solo on my own, and I made a record, and I got a producer out of Nashville, and we shopped the record out to labels. And my goal was to have uh, a record deal by the time I graduated, and then I would be able to go focus on that work. That didn't work out for me. I had to get a real job, quote unquote, working 9 to 5. And I've told that story a lot. I sold radio advertising for a local radio station. I worked at a jewelry store at one point. I worked at a software company as an audio engineer. So I just thought that was it. I thought that was my life. I'm back to working a 9 to 5, the thing I wanted to avoid. Then during the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, I lost 2 jobs. 2 jobs. So that was a punishing year, but also I felt like God was up to something and I was excited about what was happening. I also moved to Florida during that year, 2009. Had my first baby, bought my first house, and now I had a mortgage, 2 mouths to feed beyond myself, no job, and it was pretty rough. And so, in that landscape of being in a new place, no income, living off of what savings we had, I was grateful we had some savings. I started a blog, and the idea was that I was hoping. Here was my thought process. I was hoping to land freelance clients. So I always had a side gig of recording bands and uh, making records for people, and so I that was just side money, and it was my passion, and it was fun. But now I needed to ramp it up. So I started a blog thinking if I put out some content and taught people what I was doing in the studio, I could use my own clients as current clients as examples. I might gain some more uh, clients. And so that's how I got into blogging. Um, in January of 2010, a few months later, I started a YouTube channel because I realized some of the stuff I wanted to show and teach, I couldn't do it in a blog. It was audio related. So I started a YouTube channel. You can see how I'm stumbling into online business. But keep in mind, this is 2009. I had no idea online business was a thing. So I launched a YouTube channel called The Recording Revolution. And again, it was sort of like a side project. I began monetizing my website with banner ads. That was the only way I knew how to monetize any kind of little audience. A few months later, I released my first digital product, which is a little mini course, then called Pro Tools Bootcamp, renamed Rethink Pro Tools, thanks to copyright infringement, cease and desist letter from someone who became a friend of mine eventually. But that was like an experiment to see, like, people like my YouTube videos. What if I record a really, really long 3-hour YouTube video and sell it? Maybe somebody would buy it. That was my first instance of a course and realizing, wow, there's a thing here. So that's when the light bulb went on. I thought maybe I could do something here. And what that led to was me working hard, relatively full time. And it took me 2 years to reach the $60,000 a year mark. I made under $10,000 in my first year of working virtually full time on this. Year 2, I made $60,000, which was, to me, huge. Like, my life was changed, I thought. And that was my goal. So just if I could, I used to make $30,000 a year, and my wife used to make $30,000 a year before we had kids. And so I was like, man, if I could make $60,000 a year just off my online business, that would replace both of our incomes. My wife could stay home with our baby, and I could work from home. How cool would that be? So here I was, really excited in year 2. And then year 3 launched into 6 figures. I did my first $10,000 month at the beginning of year 3. And I think I ended up around 125,000 for that third year of business. This was me stumbling and fumbling in the dark and working relatively full time on this thing. So many of you have done this faster than me, more elegantly than I did. And that's my part of my impetus for teaching and coaching, is I don't want anyone to stumble along like I did, not knowing what the right thing is to do. Some things take time, but I want you to at least know that you're on the right track, doing the right things. So that's how I got to 6 figures. Now, here is what 6 figures looked like for us that year. Some people don't talk about this enough, and some people talk about it too much. The moment I crossed over $10,000 a month, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Um, Here's what I went out and did. Went out and bought a new house. This is actually the house we bought. We already had a house. It was a little smaller. Um, I did not have a space to run a recording studio in there or work from home because I never intended to. I worked at an office at a job, right, until I lost that job. And so all of a sudden I'm at home shooting videos and recording podcasts and um, doing all that stuff and interviewing and being interviewed. And I needed my own dedicated space. And so we looked at buying a new house and upgrading a house that had an upstairs um, with a room just for me. And so with six figures, we had the money to save up a little down payment on this house. We were able to keep the first house and turn it into a rental and put a little down payment on this house and then afford the new, more expensive mortgage on this house. And that was game changing for us. It put us in a much nicer neighborhood, which increased the quality of our life. And my wife really enjoyed it. And then it allowed me to have my own dedicated space. That's the first thing I bought was I bought a new house. And that just felt like amazing. And then this is literally not the actual picture of it, but this is the actual model year. I went out and bought my first ever minivan and my first ever new car, by the way. It was a 2012 Chrysler Town and Country minivan. That was the exact model, and I paid cash for it. I think I got it for $26,000, and that's what I was able to do with all that extra money was upgrade our house, which improved our quality of life and my ability to work from home, and then we had crappy old cars, replaced the crappiest of the two cars with a brand new, not very sexy, but hey, it was a minivan. And it had like sweet, like ambient lighting on the inside. It felt like a limo. And so for us, we were just rocking that thing. And like, this is what it looked like. Like, guys, it's not glamorous. This was six figures for me. A new house and a paid for minivan. Okay. Anybody else can relate to the minivan, by the way? Let me know in the chat below because I know I got some minivan lovers in there. And it's so funny. Yeah, Brittany says, Mighty Mini. Whoop whoop, van mom here. There you go. I got another van mom. I guess I'm a van dad. That car was dope, by the way. That worked out great for us. But this was amazing. This is literally what we went and did. But you want to know what six figures felt like for us? It felt like this. Six figures felt like freaking Scrooge McDuck swimming in his vault of money. Right? I always love Scrooge McDuck and always just loved like this image. This always comes to mind. Like, nobody thought anything special of us. If you looked at us from the outside, we were in a nice, comfortable neighborhood. I had a nice, brand new minivan. But the fact that the house was affordable for us, the minivan was paid for, this is what I felt like. I felt like a boss. I felt so freaking rich. And I was thinking about why that was. Why did I feel like Scrooge McDuck when I hit six figures? Well, a couple of reasons. One, I was used to living off of less than $5,000 per month, really closer to $3,000 a month for most of that period of time where I was building my business. So imagine you're used to living off of 3 to 5K a month, and now you have an additional 5 to 7K a month. That makes you feel really rich. Right? It's simple math. It's simply because there's more money left over every month rather than more month left over after all the money ran out, right? Nobody wants to run out of money every month. And so when you have just enough, that's one feeling. And that's a grateful feeling because I know what it's like to not have enough. We lived off of food stamps for 18 months and we didn't have enough to pay the bills. Having enough feels great. But when you have 5 to 7K left over every month, doesn't matter what your monthly bills are, you feel rich. Excuse me. You feel amazing because there's margin. So six figures a year, $100,000 a year, it's not really some magical number. It's just that for most of us, $100,000 a year represents breathing room. It represents margin. It represents extra, right? And that's so important. So important. So I did some digging, right? And last year in 2021, the latest numbers in the US, the median household income is 79,900. Okay. So call it $80,000. This has gone up, obviously, but so is the price of everything else, if we're being honest. But so the median household income, and I believe this is just by household. So you have a lot of two people, two working members of the household. Some of them are one, but right in the middle. So half of America makes more than this in 2021, half of America makes less. This is not an average, it's the median. This is a realistic number of right in the middle, 79.9. So that means if you were to make $100,000 a year, you would have an extra $20,000 if you are on the median income, right? So if you're typically used to the median income and then all of a sudden you get up to 100K a year, that's an extra $20,000 a year. What would you do with an extra $20,000 a year? Like, this is where it gets real. It's not sexy, but like, would you pay off your student loans or pay off your car or if credit card debt that's been piling up, right? From the pandemic or when you're out of work or just something you bought or Christmas or a vacation, whatever you put on your card, like, would you pay off debt? A lot of you I know want to buy a house. Would you put it towards a down payment on a house? It's hard to save a down payment if there's no margin. But when you got an extra 20K a year, that's a lot easier to put a down payment on a house. Some of you I know want to take an epic family vacation. You've been locked up, you haven't been able to travel, and you want to make memories. You want to go somewhere beautiful, right? Would you take an epic family vacation? I took my family to France for a month a few summers ago. I think we spent about 25K for that trip, for food and travel and Airbnbs, like rosé. I mean, you have to have a budget for rosé when you're in the south of France. Would you take an epic family vacation? What about retirement, right? Would you max out your retirement account? That's literally the amount you can max out your 401k this year. It's just over $20,000. Would you max out your 401k or your retirement account? What about your kids? Would you start a college fund for your kids? I mean, college is debatable whether you need it or not. You certainly don't need it for everything. But if your kids might want to go to college, you certainly don't want them to go into debt for it. College is not worth going into debt for most of us. So would you start a college fund for your kids so they have the option to go to college debt free? That would be awesome. So obviously fill in the blank with whatever you would do with $20,000, but you get the idea. The difference between the median household median income and six figures is 20K, and that's margin. That's what six figures feels like. Is like, for us, we were able to buy a nicer house and pay cash for a van. So six figures is just a goal, right? What is your goal? It's the most important thing we could talk about this week is your goal, not my goal, not someone else's goal, but your goal. And it's going to be different for everyone in this challenge. I know that because I know my audience. So for you, is it just an extra $1,000 a month? That is a legitimate goal. That is some legitimate breathing room. That's 12K a year. An extra $1,000 a month can be game changing. Is it, do you want to double last year's revenue? Are you looking at what you made last year and you're like, dude, I want to 2X that? If that sounds crazy, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. For one, there's going to be stuff I'm going to teach you this week that's going to help you do that. And two, the longer you're in business, the more momentum swings your way. So do you want to just double what you did last year? Do you want to have an extra $10,000 this year to add to savings? Right? Is it less of like a recurring revenue goal and more of like, I want to save up an extra 10K this year and add it to my emergency savings or add it to something else? Some of you are six-figure earners already in here. So maybe you already make $100,000 a year. Do you want to go to $250,000? You know, I always view some of the scales as like, you get all the way up to $100,000 a year. That's a huge achievement. When you get to 100K, then the next big mile marker for me is $250,000, $250,000. So maybe that's you this year. Like, I want to get to 250 this year. I want you to figure out what your goal is. And I want you to be very specific. So be thinking about that. And here's maybe the most important thing is why. Why, whatever your goal is, like, why? Don't just make an arbitrary goal. Even six figures can be arbitrary. Without a why, it's kind of shallow and hollow, and you're not likely to reach it. If you actually know what you're going to do when you reach that goal and what that money is going to be for, and you're sold on that, the reality of that, the envisioning it is going to make you work harder, and you're just increasing your likelihood of reaching it. So this is where we have to start this week. And I know, trust me, that some of you are going to be like, I really want to be like, I want to dive into the tactical stuff. I can't start there yet because I teach the tactical stuff all the time, and so many people miss some of the most important stuff. So today's assignment is some of the most important work you're going to do this week. And I really want to hit home this assignment today, because without this, I think you're going to miss a lot of the juice of the next 4 days. So I really want you to take this seriously and actually do this. Okay. So please promise me you're going to do this. Here's your assignment. And this is what I want you to write down. I want you to start by clarifying your baseline TMI, or your target monthly income. Okay. So your target monthly income and your baseline target monthly income are sometimes two different things. So your target might be what you would like to make every month, but your baseline is what you need to make every month. And I like to start with what you need to make to pay the bills. Because when your business can cover that, gosh, you're living the dream already. Like, even if you're not at six figures, you're replacing whatever previous income source or job you had. And that is a huge thing to celebrate. People don't talk about it enough because they want to talk about the flash and how much money you can make. But real life, like real life stories, being able to figure out or have your business pay your bills is huge. So you need to literally open up a Google Doc or on paper, on your phone, whatever. You need to write down how much you need every month, baseline, TMI, like literally write TMI, target monthly income, and put the dollar amount or whatever your currency is. Okay. There's a great tool. There's lots of them like this, but there's a great tool called mint.com. And what it'll do is when you log in, you can sync up all your bank accounts, credit cards, anything like that. And it can pull all your transactions. It takes, 30, 40 minutes the first time you do it. And what it does is it can look at all of your transactions and all of your spending over any number of debit cards, credit cards, whatever, bank accounts, so that you can know exactly how much you spend. Because we all kind of have an idea of how much we spend, but you probably are wrong. We're probably off. And so a tool like Mint will help you get a more accurate baseline TMI, because you'll know not only your bills that are pretty stable every month, but like you're going to know how much you actually spend on groceries. You're going to know how much you actually spend on going out to eat, how much you actually spend on gas for your car, right? So these are some of those fluctuating categories that you have to actually look at and then get a true average of what you actually are spending to have an accurate TMI. By the way, you should just do this in general in life. And I think I see some questions coming in. We're talking about personal income, right? Because your business is going to fund your personal lifestyle. But this is just a good idea in general to do. But this is so important if you want to get clear on like scaling your business. What's the point of scaling if you don't even know what targets you're trying to reach, right? So log in from Mint. It's a free tool or something like it or whatever, or just track your spending manually, but that's really hard for a lot of us. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to dream up 2 to 3 financial goals that you will use the extra money for. Because we're going to scale up your income this year. But I want you to know exactly what 2 to 3 things you would do or you will do financially with that money when you scale it up. So dream them up and write them down. Like going back to one of the previous slides, like, are you going to pay off debt? And if so, what debt and how much is it? Are you going to save up for a down payment on a house? Okay, great. How much are you going to try to save up? So this is all very personal, but this is what I want you to have written down. Okay. The 2 to 3 financial goals that you will use extra money for, including the dollar amounts that each cost. And then finally decide what your 2022 income goal will be. This is very personal. This is going to be very different. There's no right or wrong answer here, right? I just want you to have it written down. I'm not a fan of just saying, I just want to grow this year. You're never going to reach your goal if you don't actually have it written down. So I want you to actually have it written down based off of where your TMI is, based off of what we talked about, what you want to do this year. What is your actual 2022 income goal? And then final for the piece for the accountability, I want you to share that in a comment below this video. So there's the live chat, of course, here, but below this live stream is a place for comments. And that's what's going to stay up after the fact. So for accountability, I want you to post it in the comment section below this video so that it stays up. The chat will disappear after we are done going live, but I want your comment to stay up. So feel free to share whatever you feel comfortable, but ideally share all of it. Your TMI, your 2 to 3 financial goals, and what your 22 income goal is going to be. Just 3 bullet points. That's it. The reason I want you to share it is because A, it's going to encourage somebody else to see a real example of someone's TMI, their goals, and their income goal. And then it's going to hold you accountable to it. There's something powerful about writing it down and doing it in a safe community here, right? So just share it below. Excuse me, guys. And please do this homework today. Do not come tomorrow when we dive into the scaling tactics tomorrow without this written down. Otherwise, it's just fun learning stuff. It's not you actually taking this challenge seriously. So your baseline TMI, use Mint to figure out how much you're spending or something like it. Dream up your 2 to 3 financial goals, and then decide what your 22 income goal will be and share in a comment below. Okay, we're about to go to live Q&A, but here's where we're going tomorrow. 11 a.m. Eastern, same time as today, we're going to do the surprising math of earning 6 figures. So we're going to start breaking down different ways to reach 6 figures. And I'm going to help you think through what you need to do to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be for your goal. So please come join us tomorrow for that. Please do the homework today. And what I want to do is open it up to questions. So put myself back up on the screen here. And I'm going to look at the chat, and we're going to go for the next 30 minutes or so. Any questions that you have about goal setting, about where we're at, about what we've talked about today, I'm happy to answer, and I'm here to serve you as best as I possibly can. Naomi says, because the video is live, I'm assuming I can't comment till after the live is over. No, you totally can. If you make sure, I don't know if you've got this live in full screen, but if you minimize it to not full screen, if you scroll down below where this live video is embedded, there should be a comment section, and you can leave your comment below there. Brittany says, I just want to say I really appreciate you, Graham. I really appreciate you, Brittany. Appreciate you coming. Freeman says, do you consider both personal and business payments for your TMI? No, I just think about it from a personal standpoint. I mean, however you want to think about it, there's no right or wrong, but right, like if you have personal bills, like you want your business to then pay your bills, so your business profit needs to be able to cover all of that. But start with at least just what is your TMI, and then for your personal, on the personal side, you want your business to obviously be doing that at minimum. Baby Boy Blues is honestly, the income goal is similar to everyone, not even to reach 6 figures, but a comfortable 40 to 60K a month. Do you mean a year? 40, 60K a month would be amazing. That's multiple 6 figures a year. But I'm tracking with you. I love a comfortable 40, 60K a month as well. That sounds nice. Let's see. A lot of questions and comments about with or without tax. Don't get hung up on that. Don't get hung up on that. Whatever you want to reach for, right? I'm thinking pre-tax without, you know, so tax will be taken out of that. But it doesn't really matter. Like functionally, yeah, like you need your net income to cover your baseline TMI. So however you want to think about it. Some people just don't think that deeply about it or specific. I just want you to shoot for something. But yes, if you're a numbers person and you're like, I need to like get really specific, then figure out the take home that you need every month to pay your bills. And then that's what your net income has to be on the business side of things after taxes and expenses, right? So, absolutely. Robert says, how would you say your upcoming book relates to a six-figure challenge like this? How do you mean, Robert? Like as it relates to my personal goals or earning revenue? I'm not really sure. Um, let's see. Couple questions about how many employees do I have? I only have one on this personal brand. I have a full-time content strategist who also does a lot of other things for the business. Um, and then I do have a part-time guy who runs my social media stuff that makes all my Instagram snippets and stuff. And then on the Recording Revolution, I have a team of people, a guy who's getting the content creators and managing them, guy who's doing copywriting, guys managing launches, a community manager, all that kind of stuff. Andrew Smith says, Graham, is it necessary to work long hours in your first stage of setting up your business? How many hours were you doing when you first started? Great question. So I would say it is not necessary uh, because that's not how this business model works. When I started, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was literally trying everything. I worked 4 days a week full time, um, and not really full time because it was in between freelance gigs. So at most 32 hours in a week, but probably a consistent 20 hours a week is what I was doing. What I teach my students is if you are building your business right and focusing on what matters, you can start your business in 30 minutes a day, which is 6 hours, excuse me, 3 hours a week. That's the absolute minimum I think you can do it. And it'll be slower, obviously. The more hours you have, the faster you can build your product and build your sales copy and your funnel and all that kind of stuff. But it's the same process, whether it takes you 6 months or a year. The beauty of this model is that your momentum can pick up whether you're working more or not. Excuse me, guys. I think if you missed the beginning, I got totally sick over the weekend, feeling a lot better, but I've just got stuff in the back of my throat. So, okay, here's a question. Lakeisha says, I have a small email list. How can I make $120,000 this year? So, you're going to benefit from Wednesday's training a lot, Lakeisha. Um, the key is with a small audience and we'll talk about this tomorrow also because I'm going to show you a few examples of really small audiences that are hitting six figures. Usually the key, this is a short story there, is really premium pricing. Whether that's your entire niche can afford really premium products or a small subset of your audience. So I'm going to talk about ways to think about that in the next 2 days. So I think the next two trainings are going to be really helpful for you if you have a small audience for sure. Got a technical question from Twin Flames Merge. What software are you using to do the live stream? Yes, I'm using so two things. One, this is all inside of Kajabi. So where you've been the challenge, everything you've been interacting with in the challenge has been Kajabi. And then two, I'm using YouTube Live synced up to a platform called StreamYard, both of which are free. YouTube Live and StreamYard. StreamYard allows you to do all the stuff like I'm able to put your questions on the screen and I can mix between my camera and the slide deck and things like that. So you can also have interviews and you can have people that come in and join you. It's pretty cool. But I've been using that combination of Kajabi, StreamYard, and YouTube Live for a couple of years now. It's been working great. Mendo says, can't see the comment section below the video you're talking about, only the live chat. Okay, Marcus, if you're watching, make sure that is pulled up and ready to go. It should be there, but I'm not looking at it currently. Let's see. Life lessons for businesses. At what point did you hire staff to support your efforts? Um, the first person I hired was 4 years into my business in 2013, and I hired someone to check my email for me and manage my customer service requests by email because email was getting too much. That was the first person. It took 4 years in. I was already doing multiple six figures at that point. Um, it was pretty manageable on my own, but I was able to do it full time. So I say look for the point in your business. I wouldn't try to hire anybody anytime soon, unless there's a point at which you're getting slowed down and you really need to leverage your time so that you can work on more value adding activities. Like for me, it was product development and coaching people. And I was losing 2 to 3 hours a day in my inbox just answering emails that somebody else could answer. So that was a big hire for me. Paul Prescott. Oh, I like this honesty. My biggest barrier is, do I deserve to earn $30,000 per month? Wow. There's a lot there. Anybody else identify with Paul's mental barrier about deserving to earn a certain amount? Maybe it's not 30,000. Um, it could be anything. It could be 8,000, which would be, or 8,300 would be six figures. Um, man, I love this comment. I know it's not a question, and I appreciate you sharing, Paul. So you're going to give me a moment to talk about this. In fact, I'm really glad you brought this up because this is something that I have not included in this challenge functionally. So we're going to talk about it right now. There are so many mental barriers, limiting beliefs that hold us back from our goals in life. And when it comes to money, this is a very common one where for a variety of reasons, we don't feel like we deserve to succeed, whatever that looks like. For you, if it's $30,000 a month, for others, it could be $10,000 a month, whatever that is. The number is really relative because it depends on what people are used to and their standard of living and where they live in the world and all that kind of stuff. So don't get hung up on the numbers, but we all have struggled with this to some degree. Sometimes it's cultural. I have found from interacting with people, I don't know if you identify with this, that a lot of my European friends have expressed to me, at least, that there is a culture, at least where they grew up, that tells them to kind of keep their head down. Don't shoot for success. Don't try to make a lot of money. Just be average like the rest of us, which is a little different than in America, where there's a lot of like dreaming and goal setting. And that's one thing one of my students who's French but lives in the UK said that he really likes is in his words, the American spirit of wanting to like reach for big goals and dreams. But I would say also that in America, we are a very confused bunch where we both elevate people who have made it and are successful and have made a lot of money, while at the same time we demonize them. Tax the rich, we should redistribute the wealth from the rich people. And it's like, man, you can't have both. You can't both want to be wealthy and then also demonize the wealthy. But we do that in our country. It's like driving a car with your foot on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. It's just, you're not going to go anywhere. And it's because we're very confused and we have a culture that shames the wealthy and shames success while also elevating wealthy and success. And so we're sending a confusing message to people. If you grew up and had any of that cultural background of like you shouldn't be wealthy, or your parents weren't wealthy, or I find this, people who feel like they deserve to make a certain amount of money if they quote unquote worked really hard for it. That's sort of like the self-justifying mechanism. Like only way they feel okay with making $10,000 a month, or in your case, Paul, $30,000 a month, is that they worked hard enough to sort of assuage any guilt of having a lot of money. So you see a lot of people working really hard because to them, at least makes them feel better about it. So imagine someone like me who's, making gobs of money a year and working like less than I did as a teenager, part-time. Like I should, according to my culture in America, I should be feel the most guilty out of anybody. So I'm just painting the picture of the way things are, and it just depends on the circles you run in. You may not experience this, but Paul, to your point, do you deserve to earn 30K a month? Um, the question is, do you serve people powerfully every month? If you do, then absolutely. Money in business is the applause for your service, right? It's the cause and effect. So you serve people powerfully, you should be rewarded. That's how capitalism works. That the businesses that grow typically are the businesses that serve the most people the most powerfully. They have products and services people actually want. Um, let's take Apple, for example. You may not love, you know, I don't know, some of their philosophy or what they stand for. I don't know if it really matters. But, I just saw in the news, right, they became the first uh, $3 trillion company valuation. So worth the most of any company in the world. Um, they're not scamming people to being worth trillions of dollars. They just make products people actually buy and want. So that money and that valuation is the direct result of them serving people by just giving us what we want. If they didn't make stuff people wanted, they wouldn't have all that wealth and they wouldn't have that valuation. It's pretty simple. And on a small scale, you and I can do that in our businesses, which is yes, you deserve to earn $30,000 a month if you're serving people powerfully and you create products and services that bless a ton of people. It's one reason why I love the book The Go Giver, Bob Burg and John David Mann. One of the things they talk about is the law of compensation. And the law of compensation states that your income is directly tied to the number of people you serve and how well you serve them. So it's not tied to how talented you are or even how good your products are. But if you're able to serve more people, scale your audience, you're going to make more money. So I make way more money than other people, but I don't think it's because I'm more talented or have better products, but it's probably because my audience has grown bigger than theirs and I've been able to serve those people powerfully. So as long as you're scaling and serving people powerfully, it's a no-brainer. You are going to make $30,000 a month. And then if you have guilt associated with that, that's real. You're just gonna have to work through that and just know that like there's too many bad emotions wrapped up into money. Money is just a thing, and it's just the direct result of good service and good products. Um, there's nothing wrong with making $30,000 a month. In fact, the more you make, the more you're able to invest back into your business and give your students more amazing products and services or a better user experience. The money I'm able to make allows me to do something like this all week long for you for free. I don't have to get paid to do this challenge because my business makes enough money. So see how I'm able to then bless you while I do this challenge because I'm able to make money. But the guilt is real. Just own it and maybe just journal like why you feel that way, why you're struggling with the deserve question, and um, maybe trace back where do you think that comes from. Let's see. A lot of similar questions that are already answered. Hard Smart Together by Coach Dave says, when you first started, how did you get to a full commitment? Was it a lack of other options at the time? I struggle with safety nets. Examples, I can go back to tech. I could teach FT. Okay. Full time. Yeah. Oh, I mean, dude, this is so personal. Dave, um, I felt a combination of, I don't want to go back. I hated my full-time work and I had no good prospects for full-time work because I didn't have a good career before this. I had some random jobs. I hated the prospect of that. So I didn't actually want to go back. Um, and I didn't have any safety nets either. I did have some savings when I first lost that second job. But that ran out after 3 months. So I was without a safety net. And like I said, I was on food stamps for 18 months. I had my little brother sending me money. I mean, it was an embarrassingly low point in my life. But that pressure forced me to just like figure it out. And then on the same side of that, I literally felt like through prayer and studying the Bible, I felt like God was leading me in this direction. I felt like this is what He wanted me to do. I didn't quite understand it because I didn't know the business model. So it wasn't like I had what you have, which is here's the map, here's how to do it, but it's just going to take time. I didn't even have that, but I had a sense in my spirit that this was the right thing to be doing. And it was scary. So for you, I would say, like, I think safety nets are great, but you got to decide, are you going to go back or not? Are you going to go full in on this or not? So make a decision, and build this thing so that you don't have to go back full time if this is what you really want to do. Rob, ooh, what is your dream and why nowadays? Oh yeah, so I mean, you're going to see some of this coming up. Like my book's coming out in March, and I hope all of you will help me out by going and pre-order it at Amazon or wherever. You can go to grahamcochrane.com/book for more information about the book, and you can pre-order it wherever. And I'm giving away bonuses if you do, and take your receipt there. But goodness, to me, that is a beginning of a new stage of my business. I want to write books. I want to speak, and I want to move more into a thought leader spot where I can really share ideas that help. I think this world needs a lot of help. There's a lot of businessy gurus and a lot of motivational gurus, and there's some good stuff there. There's a lot of garbage there. I want to kind of show up in that space in a bigger capacity. So my dream is to break outside of just the online business world. There's a lot of people that won't take me seriously because to them, I'm a YouTuber or a guy that makes courses. You know better. You're here, and you know that, like, I'm on a mission here. But the book is going to hopefully open doors for me to break into new spots that maybe I wouldn't be taken seriously without the book. Being a published author for a lot of people opens doors. So that's my dream, is to move into more of that space, which I'm excited about. Okay, here's a good question. Sierra says, probably a broad question, but what do you think would be too much for an income goal for your first year of business? I make six figures in my current job. I'd love to replace it with a business. Oh, I love this question. So Sierra, it depends on what you have launched already. So like if you're really literally starting out, I can tell you kind of the amount of money you're going to be able to make based off your audience size. That has a huge play there. The bigger the audience, the bigger your income. But as you're going to see tomorrow, it's not always the case. So one of my buddies hit six figures in his first year of going on this business. He actually quit his job as a CEO of a major tech company, and then he launched his online business. And he went six figures in his first year because of the product he chose to launch. You're going to learn more about that tomorrow. So I think it's possible to do that in year one, but it depends on the size of your audience, and it depends on how much your products cost. So I can't give you a specific realistic goal. I've seen everything be totally different. I made 10,000 in my first year, but I didn't know what I was doing. With the second business, I did six figures in the first year. I think I did 100K in the first year. But I was doing a lot of one-on-one coaching as well, and that helped get me there. So it's totally possible, but it really depends on your offers and your audience size. Let's see. Paola says, where do you outsource VA tasks initially when you don't have a huge budget? I mean, simple places like Fiverr or Upwork, a lot of great resources. There are a lot of people that would be willing to do some tasks for cheap if it works them into a regular, freelance gig with you. So check it out, or hire a friend. That's what I did. I started by hiring a friend who wanted some extra income and wanted something flexible. I love this. Cope Life says, Paul, you deserve to make 30K a month. I just wanted to put this out here for everyone to see. I 100% agree. Let's see. Chris, I'm a 20-year-old professional songwriter. I have a songwriting course. How did you make the plunge into making music for a living and going full-time marketing videos? Dude, I just started. I just started putting out content 3 times a week, every week for the first 4 years, and just launching stuff and seeing what stuck. And I just built a lot of momentum on the YouTube channel and the blog. And I just paid attention to what was working, and I doubled down on that. And I stopped the stuff that wasn't working and fumbled my way through. So Chris, you can do it. Follow what I'm teaching, But it really is about consistency with content for audience growth and then having the right offers in place for scaling your income. Let's see. Um, let's see. Katie says, I'm slowly building my email list. I sell physical products, no success at all, and I'm not good at selling. Will this challenge help me? I want to be able to sell my own products like digital products. Um, yes and no. So, Katie, this challenge won't really help you as far as like the basics of selling a digital product. I think some of my other material, like my 30-day online income jumpstart, would help you at grahamcochran.com/jumpstart if you haven't already, and any of my other YouTube videos. This is going to more be helpful for you to scale what you already have in place. This is a practical question from teacher Melody ESL, International Studies. I feel lost in all the possibilities of transitioning from a face-to-face teacher to an online platform. Suggestions on a launch pad. Um, just start creating content and building an audience. Forget about launching your first product until you've started to get in the rhythm of creating content and figuring out if people are seeing your YouTube videos. I think YouTube is a great platform, especially if you're a teacher. And then just building some rapport with some people and asking them good questions. You could do it on Facebook, you could do it on Instagram or wherever you have any kind of audience. But find out, do some teaching online and find out what people are struggling with and how you can help them. It's going to give you a lot of clarity on what to do next. Let's see. Offshore says, Graham, how much of an impact would you say having a dedicated office made? I share a small home office and having space to go to work makes a big difference in my mindset. Yeah, it's a very personal thing. I mean, I had, like I showed you at the beginning of this, when I moved into that house, that was the first time I had my own like dedicated space that I didn't share. And that made a huge difference because it allowed me to just work on my own schedule, create more content, be more creative. It was in my house. Now, I didn't have a dedicated office space outside of my house until the last couple of years. Excuse me. And now I'm 100% full time in a dedicated office space. I don't have an office at the house anymore. My wife, we swapped. She has an office at the new house we built. Um, I like it, although I didn't mind working at home for over a decade. I loved working at home, but having the dedicated room is really clutch um, for me. So if you can have a spare bedroom at the very least that's dedicated to your office, it can make a huge difference. Let's see. Photo Mentor says, how much content should I have before launching? It's less about the content and more about audience size. Like have a few hundred people on your list before you launch. Ideally, if you, I mean, to make the most amount of money. I mean, you can launch with one-on-one coaching or some kind of group coaching product right away with a small audience. You just need like 3 people and you can make some good money. But as far as like digital products, like a course or membership, 3 to 500 people on your email list is probably a sweet spot. Love seeing people's goals. Um, yes, there's going to be a replay for all who registered, so don't worry. Let's see. Looking for questions. Twin flames. Okay, Graham, have you found that since the pandemic, many online businesses have had a dilution effect? Dilution? Like there are too many online coaches, for example? Um, no, I mean, I've seen my students and my own business grow. Yes, there's been more people coming online since the pandemic, but I think, and I wrote about this in my book that's coming out. I think, man, we are just at the beginning of a giant wave. And so there's going to be more and more people coming online teaching stuff, but there's going to be even more people coming online ready to learn it and who are now open to the idea of taking courses. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to see more of both. but it's not going to stop you from making money. Don't pay attention to those big things because they have nothing to do with your ability to make six figures and beyond. Literally nothing to do. It's just a distraction. Um, you can totally do this. Doesn't matter how many coaches are coming online. Siddharth says, you say no social media. Do you mean YouTube is just enough or Instagram is useful too? Yeah, YouTube is totally just enough. That's how I built this second business. That's how I built the first business. You definitely can just build it all on YouTube because YouTube is a search engine. So that's where people are going looking for stuff, and you can show up there and build your list and sell them products, which is all you need. All right, let's see. Kelsey, what is your opinion on paying yourself from your business versus just pulling out money of the business account for personal needs? I'm the only person in my business, so I'm both the owner and employee. Okay, yeah. So Kelsey, we're the same. I'm the only person in my business, or have been for the longest time. Excuse me. So what you want to do is treat yourself as the employee as well as the owner. So you want to pay yourself a salary. And in the early days, that can literally just mean you transfer money over. So I would pick a set salary. So don't just pull money willy nilly, but like look at in the early days, what's the lowest amount you can afford to pay yourself consistently. So is that 3K a month, and pay yourself consistently 3K a month. That way your personal life can bank on a $3,000 a month salary or whatever you choose. And then if you have good months, there'll be extra money piling up in your business account. If there's bad months, hopefully that extra money that piled up will still allow you to pay yourself a salary, because that's how a real business works. They guarantee you as an employee a salary, even though they don't know what they're going to make each month. They have reserves, and they don't pay you different every month unless you're on commission. But generally speaking, your income is the same. So, and then you can evaluate every 6 to 12 months if you need to give yourself a pay raise as your business becomes healthier and healthier and your averages go up and up. Great questions. A lot of people identifying with Paul. Love it. Oh, Brittany, I'm afraid to share how much I make, even with my family. Yeah, there's some studies that have shown that people are more comfortable talking about their sex life than about how much they earn or what they spend their money on. Shows kind of how weird we are about money. Interesting. Brian says in Germany, they try to keep you in the system: school, university, 9 to 5, job, house, kids. Yeah, I think that's pretty common in most Western countries. Everybody wants you to be the same, so you'll be a good taxpayer. But ironically, I pay way more taxes now as a business owner because I can make so much more than I did at my previous job. But it is hard. I mean, right? It is hard to go against the grain of society and your family if you're not in a family of entrepreneurs and start a business. It is hard because you don't feel like you have any support. So I get it. I totally get it. See, Paola says the bane of my existence as a business owner is the constant pull to have to post on social media daily. Are you 100% sure you don't need that to grow a successful business? I'm 100% sure. And the reason why I am is because social media is the least effective way to grow your business. It just is. I mean, if you want to you can grow your business on social media, but it's just inefficient. And the reason is it's a closed loop. It's hard to scale on social media. It's much easier to scale when you show up in search results. And like I was saying earlier to a comment about YouTube, YouTube is a search engine. So people go there every second of every day searching for how to do something. So whatever your niche is, you should have YouTube videos, because that's where people are going to search for something about your topic, and they can find you on YouTube. And all you have to do is commit to at least one good video a week. And then eventually, if you're creating content around the topics that your audience is typing in and searching for on YouTube, then you're going to be discovered. I tell this as an example, my 12-year-old daughter started a YouTube channel doing screen recordings of her playing a video game. And her very first video showed up on the top of the YouTube search results, number 5, I think, within 2 hours of her posting her first video. That's the power of YouTube. Is it's very democratic. It's very geared towards new channels, and that's how you get discovered. It's like the biggest discoverability tool, because what does every business owner need? Leads. How do you get leads? You get discovered. There's lots of ways to get leads. You can try to post on social media. You can run ads. But if you make YouTube videos, you can get discovered and get leads just as well for free. It's the best way to do it. So no, you don't need to post to social media. It's actually not a great use of your time. It's a good use of your time for other things if you want to connect with your audience, or you want to stay top of mind, or you want to poll your audience. But for growing your business, it's not the best. The best would be YouTube. Social media would be like a distant fourth, maybe, because you'd still like blogging, showing up in Google search would be better. Guest posting, getting on people's podcasts would be better. And then maybe social media. Let's see. Good comments. Let's see. Yeah, Baby Boy Blue says, as a Filipino American, a lot of us are built on the mentality of only earning our income through work. Hard to break out of the mentality until you realize you don't have to trade time for money. Yeah, I mean, this is, guys, this is getting a little deeper, but if you nerd out on this stuff, and I do, the best way to build wealth in most countries is to be an investor, because then you own assets, including other companies. Like, that's why I buy stocks, right? Because then I'm owning other companies. They're doing all the work, and then I'm getting paid via dividends, and then increasing the value of my shares for not doing anything. And that's the reason why the rich get richer, is not because they're doing anything bad. They're doing the same things that you and I can do, which is become investors. Um, the people that pay the most taxes and have the biggest cap on their income are employees. And if you're self-employed, it's the same thing, unless you can take advantage of some of the tax breaks of being a business and automate your business so it's more passive income. That's the kind of self-employed business I'm a fan of, as opposed to just like being a freelancer and still working all the time, but then also becoming an investor. So I don't just believe in my business. I invest in a lot of other companies, and I invest in real estate, because investing and owning assets that go up in value and pay you every month, that's the way you scale. And it's just not taught in our schools. Our schools just teach you to become an employee. And it doesn't make any sense. I think an employee is a great path for a lot of people. I'm not saying you shouldn't be an employee, but I don't think it's the only path. I think we should also teach people to become business owners, or what that looks like, and then to become investors. Investors are what make the world go round. Investors are what allow businesses to have money to exist, to hire people, to create jobs for employees. Like, we need all of it. This is how our world works. Where do you think the business that you work for as an employee gets their money? From capital, from outside investors. So you need investors, you need business owners to even have employees, right? So I agree that we have a mentality based off of how you were raised, or the country you're in, or the friend group you're a part of. If you don't know anybody who's an investor or a business owner, it's strange and weird. That was my story. My parents were normal 9-to-5 jobbers. I didn't know a single entrepreneur. I didn't know anything about investing. I had to figure this stuff out all on my own. I just knew that I didn't fit the mold of the typical 9-to-5 employee, and I needed something different. So that's a huge reason why I stumbled into what I'm doing. Great questions. Okay, it's a good question. After you got 6 figures, how much of that money did you invest back to work in staff and other spends? So I'm pretty frugal with my business spending. I really didn't invest much back into the business, other than I invested in coaching. So I would buy courses, work with coaches, go to conferences, and learn. Once I started making money and I had money to invest, I realized I need to learn a lot. And so that's what I invested my money in. That helped me expand my knowledge, which allowed me to try new things, which grew the business. And then as the business really expanded, I was able to hire more people, um, and then invest in even more coaching and stuff, which has been awesome. So, the tools are so cheap. Like even Kajabi, I saw some of you talking about Kajabi. Kajabi is cheap compared to like any. I know some people say you can't afford Kajabi, and if that's you, that's fine. Don't start with Kajabi. I didn't start with Kajabi, but honestly, 150 bucks a month is like cheap to run an entire business. I don't know of any other business that costs that little to run. So there's like, as your business scales, I'm still paying the same amount for Kajabi now, doing over $1 million a year that I did when I wasn't doing that revenue. So that your costs are pretty much fixed for most of your business, which is awesome. So you can invest in education, and then I would think in team, only when it allows you to focus on stuff to make more money. I'm not a guy that really wants a big team, so I never wanted to invest in the team early on. It was only out of necessity, but that's just a personal preference. Lori says, "How to determine these numbers if it's not necessarily a necessity, but a desire? For example, my husband makes enough. I'm a new empty nester, and I want to contribute again to pay off kids' college and mortgage." Yeah, Lori, that's a great question. So it doesn't matter if it's a necessity. In your case, your target monthly income is covered by your husband. So then you get to skip that point and then just come up with how much, if it's all extra, how much do you want to bring in to the family? And so maybe you start by reverse engineering how much would it cost to pay off the kids' college, and pay off your mortgage. And if you total that up amount, and when do you want to have those all paid off? Do you want to pay them off in the next 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 5 years? That you can figure out how much you need per year to do that, and then maybe that could be what you shoot for. I love that. I think you're in a great position. Obviously. Oh, this is fascinating. Offshore Audio says, I recently moved country and my income quadrupled in a month. It's been an adventure trying to come to terms with my work is worth more because I'm in a different place. Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. Good for you. Congratulations. Let's see. Just wrapping up some of these questions here. Brittany says she asks an honest question. How much of making six figures is strategy and how much is luck? Well, I think there's always luck in anything you do because honestly, so much is out of our control. Um, but six figures to me, and I say this with as much respect and class as I possibly can, six figures is not that hard if you own a business, right? In a job, you got to have a legit job to make $100,000 a year or more. So that's hard. If you own a business, it's really not that hard, as you'll see tomorrow. So come to tomorrow's challenge and we'll wrap up with that. Come to tomorrow's training because I want to show you it's really not that hard. I think hitting six figures is way more about implementing simple strategy and then just consistently building your audience. It's inevitable. I think six figures is inevitable, is how I view it. If you have the right strategy and you consistently build your audience. Beyond that, you got to get a little bit more in strategy to scale, and you need a little bit more time in your business. But yes, there's always luck in everything. But since we can't control luck, I just focus on what we can control. And that's what I'm going to teach you here in this challenge. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I am going to go rest my voice. I've got some meetings after this. I would love to know in the chat, though, below as we wrap up, has this been helpful? Have you done the assignment? Right? Let me pull this back up on the screen here. I want to get this back up on the screen. Get back to this slide. Okay. And then I want to make this a little bit bigger. This is your assignment. Remember, literally, please don't just say, oh, good idea, Graham, and then don't do it. If you haven't already done it, I saw some of you putting in the chat. Leave a comment below the video in the comment section, but more importantly, write it down somewhere. Like have a doc or a legal pad. If you're like me, I use legal pads for this whole challenge. And at the top, figure out your target monthly income, your baseline. What do you need to be earning in your business to cover your bills? And then figure out what you're actually spending. So if you use mint.com or similar tool or whatever, just look in your bank statements if you want to do the dirty work yourself and figure out how much you're actually spending each month. And then dream up your 2 to 3 financial goals, like what you would actually do with the extra money and how much those goals cost, like dollar amounts next to them. And then your actual income goal for 2022. This has to be written down somewhere, and it has to be ideally shared below so that you have accountability with the community. Tomorrow, we're going to go live at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to dive into multiple different ways to reach 6 figures. We're going to break down math. I'm going to share real examples. It's going to be math-centric training to get you thinking about what's possible for you, because you're going to get to sort of choose your own adventure, what path makes more sense for you and your business. So I'm super excited about that. We're going to dive into that. And like I said, we have a lot more to cover this week. So please come. If you miss any moment of this, because you registered, you're going to get an email every day with the replay. So have no fear. I'll be coming into your inbox as well. Take advantage of the comment section for accountability. Encourage one another. I'll be in here all week. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for bearing with me with my cold. And I'm so honored to coach you this week. It's been a total blast. And I'm super, super excited to coach you the rest of the week. So without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye for now. And I'm looking forward to serving you guys powerfully in the days to come. Goodbye, everybody. Yes, thanks for the well wishes. I'm feeling better every day. I just sound worse than I am. We'll see you guys tomorrow, okay?